Okay guys, good evening and welcome to a new season. Yes, that is correct, it is Tier 1 and we have the delight of yours truly, the legendary Hoppers in the commentary box as per usual. And yes, it is round number 1 of the GR3 Endurance League, brought to you by Eldar in association with Go Fudge yourself. And yes, good evening or good morning or even good afternoon depending on where you are watching this stream. So yes guys, a couple of things have changed and also something else has changed which you might not think, but yes, I'll go through it and I will explain exactly what is going on. Obviously Tier 2 that I was commentating on last season, I've obviously divided. It would be an equal opportunity for both sets of tiers to have obviously GR3 cars, so basically GT3 specification cars, and also quite numerous occasions for the Eldar GR3 championships, because the GR3 cars were run last season with obviously the likes of the Merc and obviously the BMW and obviously the Porsche, and also there's now a few new cars onto the grid that have been selected for this season, and it is an absolute delight to be part of the top tier. The top tier chosen to get the commentary because it is the top tier, and yes, it is yours truly, the one and only Hoppers in the commentary box for the season and also throughout every single race on a Monday evening. So yeah, I'll go through exactly what's so changed, and some of the drivers are new to me within the league. Obviously we are here at Dragon Trail Seaside, so as the famous song goes, I do like to be beside the seaside. Obviously you've got the chicanes of death in between, which is quite an interesting circuit for the championship to kickstart. I believe the Tier 2 are exactly at the same place, and you know, Brian Ross, who is the host for that, is doing a point of view on the other side of Eldar. But yes, the sponsor still remains rather, can't get my words up, remains the same. But some of the drivers are new to me and some of them are not, because I do know some of them from previous racing. So it's going to be absolutely crazy. So it is absolutely going to be an absolute crazy night of racing, which seems to be quite a bit epic for racing. So it should be a very close proximity of racing for this evening. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for quite some time of the championship. We do have a 90-minute race. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So obviously it is a 10-minute qualifying and then obviously a 90-minute race. It is going to be very close because obviously with the 10-minute qualifying you do have a lot of drivers looking forward to seeing exactly what's going to happen. So we'll see exactly so we'll just find out exactly who's here, as well as a lot of drivers for this evening. We do have obviously 90 minutes of racing and a 10-minute qualifying session, which seems to be a lot of very interest within the Eldar Sim. Obviously 90 minutes is now an hour and a half race instead of an hour. It seems that there is going to be very close proximity racing for this evening. So we do have a lot of racing to do with a lot of cars as well. So we'll go through the cars and we will go through who's here as per usual. So we've got Gareth Morris obviously in the BMW, obviously wanting to kickstart from where he left in GR2 for the championship. I believe he actually won the championship. Then he got obviously Damien Black. Then he got obviously Casper, followed by Lee Fitzy, and of course Chris Wheatley, followed by Scott Dalby. Then obviously Samper in the LDR8. It's nice to see different variations of cars as well, with obviously Craig Thomas in the Audi, not the Audi, the Aston Martin, and then obviously Brucey Collins in the Mercedes. So there's quite a few cars that are new to the championship, and some of them may be set up to go endurance racing. So you've got the likes of the Fudge GT40, which is brand new for that. Whether that is going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But you've got obviously the Ford GT of Damien Black, as well as Chris Wheatley, and then obviously Scott Dalby in the Jaguar. It's obviously a new car for this season within exactly Eldar Sim regulations for the GR3s. It seems that there is a lot of interest going on within the sort of championship. Going into the chicanes, it can be very difficult around here, especially at the Seaside, because you know there isn't margin for error going into that chicane of death, it seems. But but obviously within the championship it seems to be very close, so we'll see exactly what's going to happen for a lot of things ongoing this evening, but hopefully we get some good night racing for the GR3s. It seems that the BMW at the moment, Gareth Morris, seems to be setting the pace. So as I say, it is going to be very hectic. We do have obviously the mediums, the softs, the hards, and I believe super softs aren't used, so it's going to be very matched, and it's going to be very interesting strategies regarding the front runners. I believe the front runners though at the moment can be like range from obviously Gareth Morrison, the Fitzy Chevy Corvette. It seems that there's going to be a lot of battles ongoing, so it's going to be really close to see what happens, especially in the Ford GT40. Chris Wheatley, we'll just go on board with him for a lap of Dragon Trail Seaside. So going into the last turn then, which brings it up into the start-finish line, which obviously, if you remember rightly from the first season of the GR3 category, it was all Japanese cars, and it was obviously here where I think Chris Wheatley took the victory in the VGT from season 1, so he, you know, he's a well-established racer as well, to see exactly what's going to happen for the championship. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So it looks like someone else is going to be heading into the lobby, because I think Nick's going to be jumping into the other lobby, so it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. You've got obviously going down into the latter half of the lap, this is where the tight twisty hairpin will be happening for some of the guys, so it goes into that hairpin and then obviously into that chicane. It seems that we've got a lot of a left right into another left right. It's easy to literally hit the curbs and then obviously hit the wall on that side, so obviously if you ride the wall it can probably potentially damage your car, and it's going to be one of them. We'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening, and obviously out of the final turn towards the start finish line. So there is a lot of potential with certain drivers. Obviously you've got the likes of Gareth Morris and Craig Thomas. These guys know each other quite well. The Fitzy, Craig's cousin, is also there with Brucey Collins trying to push on. Whether he pushes that Mercedes to the absolute maximum is another thing. Obviously you've got Samper in the LDR8. Seems to be a lot of interest within that Audi R8. It seems to be a very close car, whether, you know, the Finnish driver will push on. Obviously Chris Wheatley's in his Ford GT, then you've got obviously the BMW of Casper, followed by Damien Black's Ford GT40, so it seems to be a lot of pressure within the Eldar Sim for these guys to push on. So I do apologise yet again if you did hear any foul language at the start. You know, I wasn't aware, but I do apologise. So hopefully, you know, we crack on with a good night of racing. It's going to be fantastic to see what's going to happen for this evening. Obviously you've got the likes of, obviously, let's have a look. Obviously Samper's trying to push that Audi R8 to the absolute maximum at the moment. He seems to have a bit of an iffy time with that Audi R8 going out of that Pirelli turn there, but whether he gets it going and try and see what he can do for that pace, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So there is a few people ongoing, so we'll see exactly what is going to happen this evening. It seems there is a few interest. So Samper comes out pit lane and hopefully pushes that Audi R8 to what he wants to do with it. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. It goes through, obviously on board with every single driver if we can this evening, but there is ways around it. Obviously into certain bends of the circuit it seems to be a lot of things ongoing. So we've got Chris Wheatley still pushing on for that for GT40 into the first chicane and then into the second. It's not the easiest, you know, as he sparks his way onto that wall. There's quite a few ideas. I believe Ms. Perfect, I'm trying to figure out who that would be, but welcome. Hopefully you enjoy your racing here. It's going to be fantastic to see a female on the grid for Eldar Sim, and it is going to be hopefully worthwhile because we do want to get as many people as we can into Eldar Sim racing as we can, so it will be fantastic to see exactly what's going to happen for that. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for obviously 10 minutes of qualifying. 10 minutes qualification may seem like not a long time, but it can be if you if you're not very slow at all. But if you know 10 minutes in some cases may push on for quite some time. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. Obviously I think Brucey Collins has realised he's a bit, I don't know whether he thinks he's slow, but bless him, you know, he's obviously wanting to see what's going to happen for this evening. So we'll see exactly how well things are going to go. So hopefully it is we'll see how things go. So obviously Ms. Perfect in the Evolution, and so it's the first time we've seen the GR3 Mitsubishi Evolution out on the grid with Monster Girls, as I believe it is the sponsor, which is looking very cool, I must admit. And obviously you've got certain drivers in certain cars, and obviously favourite car is obviously the BMW, so it's going to be interesting to see how well things go. Ah, bless you, mate. You know, you're slow to compare to these. Ah, dude, I understand that, but you know, I wish you all the best for in the other tier, mate, and hopefully it goes really well for you. But yes, we'll see exactly what's going to happen for Tier 1. Tier 1 seems to be very close. It's obviously Gareth Morris knows how to win races. He knows how to win championships as well as push the car to its absolute limit. Obviously it's the BMW, I think, yeah, it's the BMW. Looks very nice. It's a nice looking livery. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening for every single driver out there in the field. It seems there's a lot of keen interest to see how well the whole drivers go. I believe the Audi sounds a bit different, so it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. It might be just me because the volume's turned down a bit on my headset, but yes, thank you to everyone. Hopefully it's going to be a fantastic night of racing. So it is going to be close to see how well, obviously, the tyre strategies, especially for an hour and a half long racing around here, you know, some places may wear the tyres quicker. Obviously into them 2 chicanes, they do come up on you like anything else that's unexpected. But you know, there is a lot of things. I believe the Jaguar there, it's looking very nice. I believe that is a Luke Reed Ginetta livery, I'm not too sure, but it looks very nice on the Jaguar at the moment. So there is some quite nice and very close liveries. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So I believe we start at 8 o'clock on the dot. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for that. So hopefully it is going to be very close to see what is going to happen. So obviously at the moment Gareth Morris. So I think we're waiting for Adam Morgan to come into the lobby. It seems obviously last season's champion from the GR3s last time out. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. Obviously most of the cars are running white headlights, so you know there is quite a few cars within touching distance, I believe. Obviously we're waiting to see what Adam Morgan, that is not British Touring Car Superstar, it is the Welsh Superstar of Adam Morgan. We have to try and differentiate him from everyone else, and it seems there's going to be a lot of interest to do with how well he's going to race this evening. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. The Corvette, so there is a Corvette out there, so there's quite a few Corvettes, and I think there's 2 Jaguars, there's 2 BMWs. I think one is a proper, I believe it's the VLN spec that Gareth Morris is using, I'm not too sure. But there's 2 Corvettes, an Audi R8, Aston Martin, and 2 Jaguars plus the 4 GT40s. So we'll see exactly how well certain things push on for this evening. It seems that we're going to be on course for not only a lot of interest within the championship, because it is round number 1. So we're at Track and Trail Seaside this evening. I'll just double check where we are roughly going to be heading, because it is obviously a new round of the championship. So we'll have a look for the Go Fudge Yourself GR3s. We'll have a look exactly where they are. I think they go off to Le Mans after this. So they go to Le Mans, into Lagos, and then they go to Fuji, then they go to Largo, and then obviously Spa-Francorchamps to round out the season. So obviously at Track and Trail this evening for the Seaside, which seems to be a lot of interest for these guys. It seems to be the opening round, and I believe the calendar is exactly the same for the second tier as well, so there is going to be a lot of interest to do with all the drivers within what is going to happen for this evening. It seems obviously it's going to be fantastic to see. So obviously going into Le Mans next week, that's going to be a very interesting night of racing, because it seems to be, you know, it's a track that's probably never been raced round in Eldar Sim history due to being not really capable for certain races, but now it is. It's now capable for endurance racing. Obviously, we did have the real life Le Mans 24-hour over the weekend, and I think you start on. I think they're trying to say that you start on the mediums or the softs. I think it is the only. We'll have a look for the rule book just to double check, because there is a lot of things that I need to check for this evening. So it does seem likely that, but I believe Spa is going to be a 2-hour race after. So the last round is a 2-hour race, which is going to be very close and probably going to be very exciting. We're just trying to get a few extra people, because the league numbers are a bit slightly short at the moment from what's going on. So looking at tyre regulations, softs and mediums are the only compound to be used during the race, and they must be used up for a minimum or maximum, should I say, well, minimum of 10 minutes from what it says. So we'll try and see exactly how well that's going to go. So obviously you have the Aston Martin Fudge, you have the Corvette, you have the Audi R8 Dodge Viper, which seems to be a very interesting car itself, the Mercedes SLS AMG, and then obviously Mercedes, the Mercedes, and then the BMW, followed by the F-Type. And for GT, it seems we're going to be looking forward to seeing exactly how much these cars compare, because obviously the likes of the Audi R8 and the F-Type and of course the Ford GT have never been probably raced in the championship until now. So it seems it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So I think we're just trying to get a few people. It looks like Rasmus is going to be joining. So the BMW driver from last season, who provided some great entertaining racing. Hopefully he will be with his compatriot Casper, so the two Danes will be on the grid. So it seems it is going to be fantastic. Obviously we'll see what Gareth Morris can do with his BMW at the time. So he's coming out of pit lane, whether he's going to emulate his testing time. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for so it looks like then it's going to be quite interesting to see how well things go. It's obviously Rasmus is back in the BMW, the trusty BMW M6, so it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So we do have some quite interesting liveries, must I say, but hopefully it should be fantastic to see exactly what is going to happen. So it will be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So it looks like obviously the points system is 50 points for a race win, 45 for second, 40 for third, and 37 and 35 for fifth, then you've got 33 for sixth, then obviously 30 for seventh, then you've got eighth is 28, and then obviously 26 for ninth, followed by 24 for 10, obviously 22 for 11th, then 12 for 20, and then obviously 13th you've got 18, and then obviously 15, 14th for over 16, 15th place you've got 14, and then fastest lap you get 2 points, and leading lap you get a point. So it is going to look like we are going to be ready to go very shortly. So it's going to be very close. So we'll see exactly what is happening. So we're dragging to Seaside this evening. Just double check where we will be heading, because it is so we'll see exactly what is going to happen. For this evening. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen for this evening. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen around here for round number 1. Hopefully it is going to be a good night of racing, and we'll see exactly who will get pole position for round number 1 here at Dragon Trail. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen for this evening. So obviously you've got, who is that in the wall? Looks like Miss Perfect is just on the exit of turn number 1. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen. So we do have Rasmus bounce across the line, Damien Black also with Gareth Morris, so Damien Black goes into pit lane then, with Lee Fitzy also chasing him. So there's quite a few drivers looking forward to seeing exactly what's going on for this evening. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen within qualifying. So 7 minutes and 43 seconds remain. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen for this evening. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen. So we've got quite a few probably still on the outlaps, because they've probably changed onto different tyre compounds for qualifying, so there will be 7 minutes to go then. So we'll see exactly what Rasmus is going to do into the second chicane. He goes, gets a bit loose for this evening, but obviously it's looking likely he's going to push on for quite some time in the BMW. He's got the new sponsored, well, it's obviously not a new sponsor, but it seems to be pushing on for quite some time. But so Gareth Morris goes fastest, then Lee Fitzy actually beats him. So it seems to be a lot of things. So Lee Fitzy in that Corvette seems to be pushing on for pole position. He's got Craig Thomas, actually his cousin, just overtaking him. Craig's actually second then with Gareth Morris. So times are coming thick and fast with 137.6. It seems with 137.5 for Craig, with Lee Fitzy with 137.4. So it seems the Welsh contingents are actually leading the way. Chris Wheatley with 138.089. Rasmus actually with 138.205. Obviously Nick in that Luke Reed sponsored Jaguar. I believe that's what it is with 139.1. And then Casper with 150.5, and then Damien with 133.1, which puts him 8th at the moment. Scott Dalby then with 143.0, and then Sampa with a 149.3, and then Miss Perfect with a 3 minute 25.7 at the moment. Hopefully they will push on, just out on the outlap, maybe new to racing. Gareth Morris with a 137.6, so that puts him still third in the BMW. Seems to be enjoying life in this BMW at the moment. Hopefully he goes fastest with 4.5 minutes to go. And this is probably where it's going to get very entertaining this evening, with an hour and a half to go within the racing. So Casper goes fastest then, 136.7. So it seems to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. It seems at the moment the BMW sets the pace. Scott Dalby with 138.7, that's put him up into 9th. Then Sampa goes 138.5, so he's up into 7th in that Audi R8, the Rebellion sponsored Audi R8. So it looks very nice indeed to see exactly what's going to happen. So obviously we'll see exactly what's going to happen with 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in this race, it seems. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So push on for quite some time, it seems. We'll see what Miss Perfect's done, 141.0. So obviously new to the Eldar racing, fair enough. The Corvette looks really nice. Gareth Morris then up into 2nd with a 137.3 with 3 minutes to go. Miss Perfect actually now goes 7th, 138.2, so that's a decent lap for the Chevy Corvette driver at the moment. Chris Wheatley with a 137.7, and then obviously Daniel, aka Damien Black, with 138.5. And it seems there is a lot of interest ongoing, so it's kind of like going to be pushing on. We'll see what Casper is going to do. Scott Dalby with 138.4, then Sampa goes at 138.0, so that's putting him up to 6th. So it's kind of pushing on for 2 minutes and 2 minutes 20 to go in the first qualifying session of the season. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So obviously Gareth goes into the first part of the chicane, and then it seems to be into the other part of that chicane. So it seems the BMWs at the moment then are leading first and second with 1 minute and 52 to go in qualifying. See what Gareth Morris can do. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. Lee Fitzy in the Corvette, however, still 3rd at the moment. So it seems to be pushing on for some time. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen for then. So obviously Casper still on his outlap, may get another lap in depending on how well his outlap goes. Obviously changing tyres just to get a bit of more pressure and more grip. Craig Thomas goes 4th at the moment, and we'll see what's going to happen for the Welshman. Goes actually 3rd with 137.4, so there's quite a few drivers improving their lap times at the moment with just under 55 seconds remaining. Scott Dalby then performs 38.0, and it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening within the Jaguar. And obviously I think Daniel's decided to sit out the remaining half of the session with 35 seconds to go. So it is going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So we'll see what Sampa's going to do in that Audi R8. It seems that he's going to be pushing on quite a bit. He seems to be enjoying his racing at the moment. He seems to want to push on for a fantastic night of racing. Obviously the endurance is going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So you've got Casper that's still on his outlap. He's, well, actually on his, runs a bit wide there towards the sun. The sun nearly caught him out. So qualifying now is over. Gareth Morris will be second unless anyone beats his lap time. So Craig Thomas coming through the latter half of that chicane to see exactly what's going to happen. So it's going to be very close. Chris Wheatley with 137.6, and it seems there is a lot of interest. Let's see what Craig's going to do. Is he going to get provisional pole position? No, he still stays third at the moment. So Gareth Morris stays second. Nick goes up into a 138.666, so he's in 11th at the moment. Miss Perfect, I believe, finished 10th, so that's not a bad result. Scott Dalby 9th with Sampa 8th. Daniel's currently on a, I think he's on his outlap, maybe he's on his outlap. He's just gonna try and get some grip in that Ford GT40. Then you got Chris Wheatley 6th at the moment, and then obviously Rasmus 5th. Then you got Lee Fitzy followed by Craig Thomas, followed by Gareth Morris, and then obviously Casper still takes pole position then, because everyone else was pitting for changing tyres around. But it seems that we're going to be in for a good night of racing. It seems, I'm not too sure whether it's a standing or a rolling start. We'll figure out in a moment or two. But obviously, we'll just wait for Daniel to come through the hairpin for the final time, just to complete his qualifying session. So obviously, yeah, the sand can catch you out along here. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen. So qualifying now has ended. So it's Casper from Gareth Morris from Craig Thomas who are your top three. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. Obviously the tyres are going to be for a minimum of 10 minutes, so obviously an hour and a half to go then. So it is a standing start for the championship. Some of the guys are flashing the lights and putting the wipers on, even though it's not going to rain. So we are getting ready for the 5 lights to come onto the starting gantry in a moment or two. We'll see exactly what's going to happen as the 5 lights turn to green. The revs are building, the red lights go to green now. Who's going to get a good start into turn number 1? It looks like Miss Perfect actually got a decent start out of that, up into 8th place already. She's already battling with some of the guys there, with Casper already eking out that advantage, but Lee Fitzy tries to get the lead into the tight and twisty stuff, and it looks like at the moment, then seeing who's at the tail of the field, it looks like at the moment Scott Dalby down in 11th, the 2 Jaguars at the tail of the field, but going up into what looks like a very tight bottleneck between Casper and of course Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley. It seems Gareth Morris has dropped down to 6th then. At the moment it's side by side with Rasmus at the moment, 2 BMWs that both VLN machines. It looks like that we do have a bit of a contest between the Welshman and the Danish driver, with Miss Perfect trying to actually take both of them on that inside line going into that tight turn before the chicane. She's actually up into 6th, which seems to be very close indeed. So perfect start from the Tiverton there. It seems that Lee Fitzy and of course Casper almost going out of the chicane neck and neck, nose to tail. It seems Chris Wheatley also trying to push on, so it's Ford GT as Casper goes into side by side with Lee Fitzy. Chris Wheatley still there with Craig Thomas trying to get that Aston Martin alongside the Ford GT40. It seems there's a lot of potential going on as we tick lap one out of. It's hard to tell because obviously with it being an hour and a half, but Rasmus from Miss Perfect followed by Gareth Morris, then it is already looking likely a battle for first place with Lee Fitzy and of course Casper trying to push on. It seems Miss Perfect getting a decent start, but it looks like Damien Black's Ford GT40 is trying to get alongside Sampa's Audi R8. Sampa's trying to defend. Nick's also there joining in that battle. So Daniel's dropped down to 10th place with Scott Dalby behind him. It looks like there's going to be a close battle between Miss Perfect and of course Gareth Morris and of course Rasmus Omeran. It seems Craig Thomas is trying to catch up to the back of Chris Wheatley as well, so you know for a fact how natured this circuit is. Craig's going to have to try and get on the inside line as Lee Fitzy does exactly the same to Casper there. Casper actually tries to latch onto the back of Lee Fitzy going into the first chicanes. Then Lee Fitzy gets onto that curb. You don't want to clip that curb too much because it can spit you into the wall like it has done to Lee Fitzy, which is then delayed Chris Wheatley as well as Craig Thomas. And Rasmus is also up to there. He's up into 4th already. The star from last season, Craig Thomas, also there. It's a bit rough and tumble going into the hairpin for the second time then. So it looks like Miss Perfect down in 7th. Craig's trying to push on. We know Samper and of course Nick Sargent are trying to battle for 8th and 9th. And obviously Daniel and of course Scott Dalby for 10th and 11th as well. So there's almost a bit of a battle. See what's going on further up the road as Nick gets past Samper, and Samper has to dial that Audi R8 to try and get past that Jaguar yet again. We'll see exactly what's going to happen for that time. It seems at the moment Lee Fitzy trying to push on, but obviously Gareth Morris and Miss Perfect runs a bit wide. Hopefully they will regain a bit of confidence. It seems at the moment Rasmus and of course Chris Wheatley seem to be pushing on, but that's allowed Casper to actually eke out that advantage with Rasmus in 3rd. Craig Thomas. Oh, Rasmus has lost control of that BMW. That was unfortunate. That has dropped him down to 7th, and that is what you have when you hit them curbs at them speed. It seems he's dropped him down to 7th now. Nick's still in 8th, followed by Samper 9th. Daniel in 10th and Scott Dalby 11th at the moment. It seems to, seems to battle for 4th, but then was that Lee Fitzy into the wall? Oh no, it wasn't. It was Rasmus has gone into the wall as well. Was that Chris Wheatley? Yes, it was. We'll try and figure it out if we can. Well, it looks like when he rejoined, he didn't see Rasmus there, which has pushed Rasmus right down into 11th place with that front end bumper damage. But on to lap number 4 then. Casper's leading the race from Craig Thomas, followed by Lee Fitzy, his cousin. And he's also got Gareth Morris and Miss Perfect trying to push on. She's actually doing a stellar debut for the first round of the Go Fudge Yourself JTs, the GR3s. It's not JTC anymore, it's GR3 Endurance it seems. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. Nick up into 6th then with Chris Wheatley struggling in that Ford GT at the moment, whether it's a bit loose and it's just trying to push on for him at the moment it seems, with Samper 8th and Scott Dalby in 9th, followed by Daniel, followed by Rasmus in 11th. He's not going to like what's happened there because that's dropped him right down. So that's allowed Craig and Lee Fitzy. Lee Fitzy currently still 2nd. Gareth Morris tries to go on the attack of the Aston Martin into that hairpin. It seems going towards that chicane for the 4th time. It seems they're going to be trying to push a long train alongside. And it seems that Gareth Morris is going to be pushing on. He's trying to defend from Miss Perfect, but Miss Perfect clips the wall, which severely damages the Corvette at the moment then. So that's allowed Nick Sargent up into 5th in that Jaguar. It looks like at the moment Chris Wheatley 6th and then obviously you've got Samper versus Scott Dalby. So it's going to be very close between the pair of them going into the hairpin for the 4th time. And obviously Damien Black right behind Rasmus in 10th, then a miss perfect after clipping the wall down in 11th. Hopefully that does not knock the confidence, but you know, fair play, you know, pushed, and it was going to be very close. But at the moment Craig is trying to get past his cousin for 2nd place. He's trying to get that 2nd place off the Corvette driver, it seems, and it's almost Craig's going to try and battle, but he's got Gareth Morris also behind. But this has allowed Casper to get alongside and try and push on. Gareth Morris is flashing lights saying to Craig, come on mate, let's work together, because it's going to be a long race. It's still a long way to go. He's still got an hour and 1 hour and 22 minutes to go. It seems like it's going to be a long race, and it seems it's going to be very interesting. Going into Pirelli, it looks like Craig's going to be having to defend, but Gareth Morris is going to try and make it 3 wide into that. It seems Gareth Morris is going to push on. It seems Lee Fitzy also joining. We'll see exactly what's happened, but Miss Perfect seems to unfortunately had a bit of an issue in that Corvette, so hopefully we'll see them back out on track next time out at Le Mans. But Nick's still in 5th at the moment, and Chris Wheatley's forever snaking for GT40, pushing its way up into potentially 5th place. He's got alongside Nick Sargent going into the hairpin for the 5th time. They're about to tick off another lap, and it seems that it's going to be very close between the Ford GT and the Jaguar versus the 2 Jaguars, because Scott Dalby is also almost chasing them nose to tail between Nick and of course Chris Wheatley side by side down the front straight into the 1st corner. It seems to be a fast sweeping right into the left-right chicane towards the first part of the lap. It seems that Chris Wheatley gives Nick a bit of a love tap going out of that chicane, but it's going to be very close. We'll see exactly what's happening around the circuit in a moment or two, but Lee Fitzy seems to be holding up the pair of obviously Craig Thomas and of course Gareth Morris. Gareth Morris trying to push on for that, trying to get 2nd place, maybe even 3rd place. Lee Fitzy gets alongside Craig Thomas. They're going to try and make it 3 wide into this hairpin. Who's going to be the last of the breakers? It seems 3 wide. 3 isn't going to go, is it? It's almost there. Gareth Morris gets 2nd from Lee Fitzy, but Lee Fitzy may concede 3rd from Craig Thomas, but Gareth Morris gets that move done before they head into the chicane, but it's allowing Casper to escape up the road. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So you've got Chris Wheatley followed by Nick, followed by Scott Dalby, and of course Daniel versus Samper, and then obviously Rasmus currently having a terrible time in that BMW. Whether he pushes on and says right, let's get down and let's get ahead into the focus, but it'll seem to be a bit of a battles galore, because it looks like Scott Dalby up into 6th, then got his way past Nick Sargent in the sister Jaguar, and it looks like the Jaguar is currently on form for potentially near enough losing another place if he's not careful, because Daniel is on a great speed of knots. You can just see that Ford GT40 pushing on for what would be 7th place, but we'll see exactly what happens between this battle. Chris Wheatley then escaped it all up into 5th place. Craig Thomas still in 4th, then trying to push on past his own cousin Lee Fitzy versus Gareth Morris, but that's allowing Casper to escape. But you can just see Craig Thomas using that Aston Martin to a decent advantage over the Chevy Corvette. His Corvette seems to be pushing, and it seems it wants more positioned, but at the moment then it seems Craig's going to try and get that Aston Martin dialed up into that hairpin. It seems that Lee Fitzy is trying to push on, but he's trying to also push on to try and get up to Gareth Morris, but it's not going to happen because Craig's going to be right behind him. But Aston Martin seems to be very quick, has the quickest line out of that chicane. Whether he's going to make the move into that hairpin, we'll see exactly how well it's going to go into the latter half, into that lap. It seems that Craig gets that move done into third place almost, or is it Lee Fitzy that's going to get it with another lap ticked off? So on to lap number 8 with around an hour and 18 minutes. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So we'll see exactly how well things are going. But the two Jaguars almost side by side, they're going to be battling it out. You can just see Scott Dalby holding off Nick Sargent, potentially for 6th place at the moment, and we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But it looks like it's going to be very, very careful to see what's going to happen between the two Jaguars, because they seem to be equal paced, but at the moment we've been on the mediums and then obviously Nick on the soft, so Scott's on obviously the mediums, but it seems the softer tyres are going to be close, it seems, but we'll find out what exactly is going to go on. But obviously you got Daniel trying to push on there. He's trying to emulate exactly what's going to happen between these guys. Obviously Nick's trying to push on for 6th place. He gets that move done into the hairpin, slightly outbrakes himself into that corner there, but it seems that Scott Dalby will push him all the way, it seems, and obviously Damien's trying to do exactly the same. Scott clips the wall there, sparks it up a bit, but that's the nature of this circuit, especially into them chicanes. So Damien Black currently trying to push on. He's got the two Jaguars ahead of him. That Ford GT is looking almighty quick. It seems Scott's trying to make the move as we try and see exactly what's going to happen. You can just see Samper and of course Rasmus trying to catch them up for quite some time. Chris Wheatley still in 5th, then Lee Fitzy in 4th, Craig Thomas now 3rd, and Gareth Morris in 2nd, but that's allowed Casper to escape up the road. It seems that these guys are actually trying to push on for quite some time, it seems, at the moment. But going back to this battle between the two Jaguars and the Ford GT, it seems that Damien's going to try and push for what looks like an absolute fantastic move. It looks like Samper and of course Rasmus, the two Scandinavians, the Finnish driver versus the Danish driver, it seems like they're going to be pushing on, and obviously, you know, potentially seeing what the BMW and the Audi, both German manufacturers, are going to do. Obviously, you know, Rasmus knows that BMW very well. It seems like it's going to be fantastic, easy way to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening, it seems. So it's going to be very close to try and push on for another lap and a half, just to try and push on. Whether strategies now will come into place very shortly, but it looks like Scott's trying to make the move on Nick into the final turn. It seems likely that at the moment it's going to be very close to see exactly what is going to happen for 6th place at the moment, but that's allowing Scott Dalby to get the sister Jaguar alongside, and probably he's going to go alongside now. Nick's going to have to defend. He's going to concede that place, but Nick's going to have the inside line into that chicane, or it's a bit of contact between the pair of them. The two Jaguars actually have a fair play fight into that chicane, but Scott Dalby comes out into front of Nick Sargent's Jaguar. It looks like the Jaguars are trying to push on, and they've got to be careful because Damien Black will catch them up. Scott Dalby gets a bit crossed up into that corner. We'll see exactly what's happening with that battle shortly. Lee Fitzy still in 4th, Craig Thomas in 3rd, followed by Gareth Morris and of course Casper currently leading the race. Then Samper's lost out to Rasmus then, so it looks like the Audi versus the BMW seems to be pushing on, but the BMW is trying to do it. It looks like Nick's got back in front of Scott. We know that was going to happen. They're almost side by side towards the other chicanes. It seems the first chicane of the latter half of the lap, Scott Dalby gets that place back, but Nick's all over the tail of that Jaguar. It seems the Jaguars are trying to push on. The Ford GT40 is going to be pouncing. He's going to be very quick to see exactly what's going to happen. So Nick jumps back into 6th. Damien Black currently still in 8th, it seems. We'll see exactly what's going to happen between these guys, it seems. So Damien actually heads into pit lane, so he's the first of the front run, well, the tail end of the field to actually pit, it seems. So with an hour and 13 to go, we do see our first change, and he's probably going to go onto the softs and probably top up that tank and put quite a lot of fuel in it. We'll see exactly what's going to happen. So obviously Nick's trying to push on, and it seems like Chris Wheatley going to be pushing on for 5th at the moment. Lee Fitzie's still in 4th. Craig in 3rd with Gareth. It's Gareth Morris in that BMW trying to push on. The M6, the VLN Spontan machine, seems to be pushing for quite some time. And then obviously you got Casper still leading in the other BMW, so the BMW is looking very strong at the moment. The Aston Martin also still to be the same, but going back to this battle for 6th and 7th, it looks like Nick and Scott Dalby, they're going to be battling for quite some time, it seems. So it's going to be very close between the two Jaguars. It looks like Rasmus and of course Sampa will be pushing on to try and get their cars up into that sort of top 7, maybe top 6. Obviously Damien's gone out onto the softs, and as rightly as I said, Gareth Morris inherits the lead then, because Casper jumps into pit lane. He will probably go onto the mediums, so that's allowed the Welsh lads to escape. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close. Nick and of course Scott, they're still battling, so if they can plan it right, they will come out respectively, well, literally respectively in 6th and 7th, but they've got to be careful because Casper's come out of pit lane onto cold tyres, so it looks like Nick's going to be pitting next time round, maybe as Casper gets a bit loose out of that chicane. We know the tyres are going to be cold on that BMW M6, we know that, but it seems that Nick and of course Scott Dalby are going to be there. Rasmus also. Rasmus, we know exactly his driving style from last season when he was absolutely going to be tooth and nail with the likes of Adam Morgan and of course Darren Baldwin last season, but he's back in the BMW M6, he feels at home with it, and it seems it's going to be very close for him this evening as Casper runs a bit wide onto that curb, so does Scott Dalby, but then it's going to be very close between the pair of them, it seems at the moment. But is that going to be an advantage for the likes of Sampa and of course Damien Black at the moment then? Is that going to be how it is going to be for an hour and 10 minutes? Obviously Gareth Morris there in the BMW M6, you can just see Craig Thomas there still in 2nd with Lee Fitzy 3rd, and of course Chris Wheatley now. So the Welsh contingent 1 to 4 on track at the moment, but it seems Nick's going to try and push on. Lee Fitzy actually is followed by Chris Wheatley. They're both going to pit lane, so that's allowed Rasmus and Casper, so the two Danes up into 3rd and 4th respectively, and that's allowed Sampa in the Audi R8 to also take 5th. So it looks like Chris Wheatley and of course Scott Dalby and Nick all in pit lane, so that's allowed the likes of Damien Black. Whether that has allowed him to push on, it seems Chris Wheatley gets that Ford GT40 out. He's got a battle with Lee Fitzy, so Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley, they're going to push on. They're still on cold tyres though. Whether it's going to be very close between the pair of them going out of that chicane down the hill towards the hairpin, it seems. So it's going to be very close between obviously Lee Fitzy and of course Chris Wheatley, and that's allowed Scott Dalby and Nick Sargent there, or they went into pit lane together, and it seems like from what I've seen at the moment it's been a very tense race at the moment within the hour, nearly enough an hour and 9 minutes remaining. Can't even get my words out then, but it seems Scott and of course Nick, they're going to be battling for 9th and 10th at the moment. Lee Fitzy and of course Chris Wheatley are going to be pushing on. It seems this time round we could be seeing another pit stop. It's obviously, you know, Casper will inherit the race lead, it seems. So it seems at the moment though, Craig Thomas still out with another out lap with, of course, Gareth Morris. So the two Welsh contingents trying to push on. So you've got Casper there still in third, followed by Rasmus, followed by Samper, and of course Lee Fitzy. And then obviously Chris Wheatley trying to do exactly the same. It seems the Ford GT40 and Corvette trying to rage a battle on. It looks like Scott's trying to push away from Nick at the moment. Nick seems to be quite a bit close and personal for the two Jaguars to try and push on for another lap. So we're on lap 14 then. Gareth Morris still trying to push away from Craig Thomas, which he is doing. And obviously Casper versus Rasmus, Samper, Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley. They've dropped back a bit from each other now, which seems to be, is it the nature of the tyres, or is it just the temperature isn't up to scratch as of yet? But we'll soon find out. It seems Scott Dalby and of course Nick, they've got both exactly a gap of 1.1, maybe 1.2 now it seems. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen this time round. So we've got an hour and 7 minutes to go in the first race. Looks like Craig is jumped into pit lane. So that is going to allow Casper to try and take second place at the moment. Rasmus probably wants to stay out for another lap. Samper's probably going to do exactly the same. It's going to be easy, a bit difficult to find out exactly what's going to happen. But they both stay out for another lap, and Craig's still in pit lane because that Aston Martin, I swear, that drinks a lot of fuel. And obviously Lee Fitzy and of course Chris Wheatley, they're going to try and push on. And I'll tell you what, Damien Black's still there, but at the moment then Craig's just actually came out of pit lane right in front of Lee Fitzy. Lee Fitzy there still about 1.8 of a second from Craig Thomas at the moment. See exactly what's happening between the battles. It looks like Nick's had a bit of a moment. He's dropped a bit of ground from Scott Dalby. At the moment it's 2.4 of a second from the other Jaguar at the moment, but looking exactly what's going on, it seems that Lee Fitzy's going to be catching his cousin in that Aston Martin very carefully, it seems. But, you know, still a long way to go in this race, it seems. And it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for the Go Fudge Yourself GR3 Championship. It seems at the moment it's going to be still a long way. But we do have quite some fascinating battles, maybe going to be pushing on for quite some time, it seems. You know, we've got the likes of obviously Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley. Gareth Morris jumps into pit lane then, so the BMW, the second BMW gets into pit lane. Whether he's going to push on for when he gets into that zone, it seems that Casper will take the race lead, and it's going to be very close. It seems that there's not really much battles at the moment, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But it looks like at the moment, and from what I am seeing, Rasmus stays out for another lap. He knows the BMW, so he's done a lot of research in the past when he was racing the BMW last season, and it seems to be very close to see exactly what is going to happen for the Eldar Sim racing this evening. And it seems, you know, there's a lot of battles galore. So Rasmus still in second, Samper currently in third, then Gareth Morris comes out in fourth, Craig in fifth, then followed by Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley. Now obviously Daniel versus Scott. Scott seems to be 4.4 of a second, now 4.5 of a second, and obviously it's almost the same gap between Scott and of course Nick. That is exactly how the order is. Sadly, I believe Miss Perfect had an issue with that Corvette and sadly had to retire. Hopefully she's back for Le Mans. But looking at what's going on at the moment, Gareth Morris tries to overtake that LDR8. The LDR8 gets a bit of a drift into that hairpin as we're about to go into the Seaside section of the circuit. It seems to be pushing on into them chicanes, so it's going to be very close to See exactly what's going to happen. Sumper's fuel light just comes on as he heads out the chicane for the 16th time, and whether he's going to be pushing all that way for another lap is yet to be seen. But Gareth Morris gets that BMW dialed up and gets past Sumper. Sumper goes past the pit lane, so he's probably going to push on. Rasmus jumps into pit lane then, so that's allowed the likes of Sumper and Gareth Morris to still have their battle for the time being, which is very close because Gareth Morris wants to push on in that BMW. He wants to try and push on to get up to Casper. Well, Casper's only about 19.7 seconds up the road, it seems. So Craig Thomas also tries to get past Sumper. Sumper tries to break that Audi R8 into that corner, but it goes a bit sideways. He's got Craig Thomas alongside him going down the hill towards the other half of this section. It seems that Craig's got that move done, which he has. Sumper must be struggling at the moment now. Lee Fitzy 5th, Chris Wheatley in 6th, Damien 7th, and obviously Scott in 8th, Rasmus in 9th, and Nick seems to be pushing on that Jaguar in 10th place at the moment. Seems to be having a bit of a lonely race in 10th place at the moment. It seems to be getting a bit loose, is that Jaguar, but whether it's going to be pushing on, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So we'll see how well everyone goes. Craig clips the curb out of that chicane. We know for a fact the Welshman knows how to win races. He actually won the opening, I think he actually won here. It wasn't Chris Wheatley, it was actually Craig that won here in the Supra back in the JTCC, but Sumper heads into pit lane, and whether them 4 laps wouldn't be enough in the Audi R8 to do another lap. But on lap 18 then, out of probably an hour and a minute to go, so we're not far off reaching the hour mark here. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. Chris Wheatley pushing on in 5th place, followed by Damien, followed by Scott Dalby and Rasmus. Rasmus was around, he's just looking likely on the timing screen. He had a bit of a disappearance. But Nick into 9th place then. Sumper rejoins in 10th. So the Audi R8 driver is going to push on. Rasmus is actually there in 8th place at the moment, it seems. Scott Dalby in 7th, followed by Damien, followed by Chris Wheatley. Chris Wheatley seems to be getting close, but Lee Fitzy at the moment. Craig Thomas still in 3rd then, with Gareth Morris also around trying to push on. He's about 19.5 of a second from Casper at the moment, with an hour to go in this race then. So it's only an hour to go. It seems like there's going to be a lot of things pushing on for this evening, it seems. Obviously, you know, with an hour to go, it's going to be a long way, still a long way to go. So we do have Lee Fitzy 4th, Chris Wheatley in 5th, followed by Damien, followed by Dalby in 7th, Rasmus 8th, Nick in 9th, then currently with Sumper trying to chase him down with the Audi R8. The Audi R8 on cold tyres on the racing softs, it seems, you know, with 59.5 minutes to go. So we're not far off, hopefully, into another set of stints. So it's going to be Gareth Morris at the moment, still trying to push on. It looks like Craig Thomas pushing away from his cousin Lee Fitzy. He's about 2.9 from Chris Wheatley at the moment. Chris Wheatley, you can still see Ford GT40 pushing on, trying to get up to Lee Fitzy. Lee Fitzy just went over the rise. You can just see the gaps are considerably opened up quite a bit. It's like 15.7, maybe 15.9 from Scott, and of course Rasmus needs to push on whether he wants a good result this evening in that BMW. He needs to see exactly what's happening. But obviously Nick currently trying to chase down the pack. He's about 4.4 of a second from Rasmus at the moment, it seems. with Samper 0.9 of a second. The gap seems to be growing. The Audi R8 seems to be struggling at the moment, whether the cold tyres, well, it's sort of now in its optimum range, but whether the tyres are going to work to the conditions, it seems. But obviously the Audi's trying to push on. It's like almost 0.6, it seems. Even though it's 0.6, the gap does come down though to 0.4 into the chicanes nearly, with 58 minutes to go in this race. And it seems Nick's got that Jaguar sort of dialed up for a lot of snaking out them chicanes though at the moment. It seems like Rasmus, he's got 4.6 ahead of these guys for 9th and 10th at the moment. Nick goes into the hairpin for the 19th time. He's got Samper right behind him. Samper's now kicking up a bit of dirt out of the final turn, across the line then to kick off another lap. So it looks like lap 20 out, and it seems to be very close, it seems. But obviously Nick kicks up the dirt there going towards the chicane. Samper's got that Audi R8 now up to optimum running temperature. He's had the tyres up to warmth for quite a bit, and it seems we'll see exactly what's happening. But at the moment, Chris Wheatley, however, is caught up slightly to Lee Fitzy. It seems the Corvette and the Ford GT seem to be pushing for quite some time. It almost seems a lot of interest between these guys. Rasmus, his compatriot Casper, goes into pit lane then. So that's obviously another scheduled stop for the BMW driver. So that'll allow Gareth Morris now to actually inherit the race lead. And it looks like Lee Fitzy and of course Chris Wheatley, they're going to be pushing on. It looks like at the moment Sandberg tries to get the Audi R8 alongside the Jaguar of Nick Sargent. Nick's trying to defend. Sandberg goes on that attack now. He's got to be careful because Nick's coming in great speed into the chicanes. They go then. So into chicane 2, it seems you can just see how close the Seaside is to the racetrack, and Nick's trying to push on. Whether he gets that Jaguar into 9th place by the end of the lap, well, it'd be yet to see, but almost, you know, close. It's got the 4 Welsh lads currently back into them positions, then the top 4 with Casper in 5th, then with Damien trying to push on. Scott trying to exactly push on exactly the same. He's 16.2 of a second from Rasmus Roman. Samper almost trying to push on with that Audi R8. The Audi R8 kicks up a bit dirt with Nick Sargent's Jaguar hot on his heels, trying to chase him down for what would be 9th place. But you know, it's still a long way to go in this race with around 55 minutes to go. It seems like it's going to be very close and maybe personal, but we'll see exactly what is going to happen for some time. And it seems like Gareth Morris seems to be eking out that advantage from Craig Thomas. So it looks like Lee Fitzy will be going into pit lane then, because the Corvette seems to be drinking that fuel quite a lot. We know for a fact it was drinking a lot of fuel last season. So both Lee Fitzy and Chris Wheatley go into pit lane, which will allow Casper up into 3rd then. So that's going to be very close. It'll allow Daniel up into 4th, and then obviously Scott Dalby up into 5th. And it will allow Rasmus, if Rasmus puts his foot flat to the floor in that BMW, it will allow him to catch up, and it will probably allow him to get that battle that he so desperately wants. It looks like the Audi versus the Jaguar battle is only around near enough now 2 seconds. So it seems as we try to flick to see exactly what's happened. So Lee Fitzy in 7th, Chris Wheatley joining that battle, but Samper in the Audi R8 has more warmth in them tyres of the Audi. It seems that the Corvette is also trying to battle. The Corvette's come out of pit lane onto the softs. Whether that's going to be very interesting, it's going to be vital to see exactly what's going to happen. That's allowed the battle, and obviously Nick in the Jaguar trying to catch up to these guys. It seems at the moment, it seems like it's going to be a lot of pushing, and we'll see exactly what's going to happen for this time, it seems. So Chris Wheatley trying to push up to the back of Lee Fitzy as well as Samper. Samper's under attack from that Corvette. The Corvette seems to have the legs of the Audi going into the hairpin for the 22nd time, but Samper's got it very close. Gareth Morris jumps into pit lane, and maybe that's a right decision, it seems, with 53 minutes to go on the clock. But obviously you've got Samper versus the Corvette of Lee Fitzy trying to push on out of the two chicanes they go. Is that going to be very close? Looks like Samper's on trying to get on the defensive, but Gareth Morris, not Gareth Morris, Lee Fitzy, he's trying to push on. Gareth Morris comes out in third place then, which seems to be very close. Craig Thomas inherits the race lead, but Lee Fitzy gets 7th from Samper. Chris Wheatley going to try and do exactly the same, and then Nick's trying to push on as well. But we'll see exactly what's happening, because it's not really much battles between the guys up front. Obviously Lee Fitzy, Samper, and of course Chris Wheatley, trying to push on for 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment. Could be 4 cars if Nick gets that Jaguar up into that slipstream of these guys, but at the moment Lee Fitzy trying to defend from the likes of Samper and of course Chris Wheatley, it seems. But you know, we've still got a long way to go in this race. We've still got 51 and 43 seconds to go in this race, it seems. So it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for some time, it seems. So 51 and a half minutes to go. It seems like this race is going to be very close. But at the moment Samper's trying to push that Audi R8 to where he wants it to be. You know, it seems at the moment the guys seem to be pushing on. Nick's dropped back a bit, 3.2 of a second, it seems, but it's going to be very close to Jaguar. Hobson skips them curbs very well here at Dragon Trail Seaside for the opening round of the GR3 Championship. Then you've got Craig versus Casper at the moment. They're not really battling at the moment. You've got Gareth Morris in that BMW. Seems to be working very well at the moment. You've got Daniel versus Scott Dalby, so the Ford GT versus the Jaguar. Then you've got obviously Rasmus, 21.2, maybe 21.1 of a second from Scott Dalby now, as he runs a bit wide into them chicanes. Lee Fitzy, and then obviously Samper, and of course Chris Wheatley. Chris Wheatley, we know how Chris Wheatley can win races, but at the moment Ford GT40 seems to be pushing on quite a bit. Whether it gets another thing side by side within the bit of the battle, it seems, but it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this time. It seems that Nick's trying to push on 4.4 of a second. Maybe the Jaguar's just feeling a bit understeery with them sort of where front and rear, it seems, but you know, it's going to be very close. We're still a long way to go in this race, so we'll see exactly what's happening. I think Scott's almost about to go into pit lane because that Jaguar seems to be drinking a lot of fuel at the moment. So Lee Fitzy still in 7th, Samper in 8th. He's got to be careful because Chris Wheatley is right on a massive charge. We know how well Chris Wheatley does in these races with 49 and a half minutes to go in this race, so we're not even halfway yet. We soon will be, but it's going to be very close throughout the race for a lot of these drivers, and they're going to try and push on. But it seems that, you know, the battles of the Jaguars maybe pushing. It seems Nick's going to be staying out for another lap. You know, he's got Scott Dalby coming out of pit lane now, so Scott comes out of pit lane just as we fly by with Nick onto the start-finish line. But this is where it's going to be very close because Samper has just been overtaken by Chris Wheatley. You know, it seems that Chris Wheatley has that Ford GT lined up. You know, he's almost got it to where he wants to be. He needs to, I think when he feels like he needs to push, it's going to be one of the closest battles. But Sampa's LDR8, you can just see it, just lurking in the background. It seems to be how quick these guys are going to go for this evening. It seems to be quite a bit personal. Rasmus in 5th place at the moment, trying to get away from Lee Fitzy, but Lee Fitzy's Corvette, Rasmus knows all about that Corvette when he was battling with Adam Morgan last season, and it seems to be very close to see how well things go. You know, it's going to be very close. So obviously Daniel jumps into pit lane, which allows Gareth Morris to try and push on into 3rd then, but at the moment it seems Rasmus knows a lot. He knows what he's got to do to try and get a very decent result, it seems. At the moment, Lee Fitzy, followed by Chris Wheatley, and then Sampa, and obviously Scott Dalby and Nick. Nick's probably going to head into pit lane this time, so that's going to allow Scott to get 9th place at the moment, going into the final turn. The 2 Jaguars almost side by side, but as I say, as I rightly predicted, Nick would be going into pit lane this time round. So Scott will push on and try and get another place. It looks like Daniel's come out onto track in 8th place then. So it seems there's not much really going to be pushing on for, because Chris Wheatley and of course Lee Fitzy seems to be chasing, but it looks like Lee Fitzy wants to chase after Rasmus. Rasmus up into 4th then, with a bit of a nightmare at the start then, whether it was just cars concertinaing together or whether it's just an own mistake. But you know, the Danish driver doesn't really make mistakes from what I've seen, but you know, when it has been mistakes, it has been quite a bit awkward for himself, because he needs to push on. He's actually pushing away from Lee Fitzy at the moment, but Lee Fitzy's on that massive charge. You can just see the Corvette versus the Ford GT versus the Audi then versus the other Ford GT, but Scott's trying to gain up to these guys, and obviously Nick's also pushing on. He's on the softs with a full tank with 35.1 of a second now, trying to push up to that gap up to Scott Dalby. It seems the Jaguar's going to be trying pushed on, but it seems that, you know, Craig Thomas is going to be thereabouts, and it seems that, you know, Casper's still in 2nd, with Gareth Morris in 3rd then, Rasmus, and of course Lee Fitzy. You can just see Lee Fitzy lurking towards that BMW. The Corvette seems to have the legs of that BMW at the moment. It seems at the moment that Lee Fitzy may have that BMW dispatched away from him very shortly, and it will be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because you can just see Lee Fitzy pushing that Corvette up towards the BMW with 45.5 minutes to go in the race. It still remains Craig Thomas leading the race. Whether Craig's going to try and push on, he actually knows quite well how to win here. There's a bit of collision between Rasmus and Lee Fitzy, but Lee Fitzy gets it there, but it still snakes out in front of Rasmus. It seems Rasmus is trying to push on, trying to push that BMW back in front of that Corvette. It just seems what is going to happen with quite a lot of battles galore, because we're now near enough at the halfway stage. It looks like Lee Fitzy has got his hazard light on at the moment, whether he's just accidentally knocked him on, but that's just going to be a big distraction for Rasmus at the moment, it seems. And then you got Rasmus, Chris Wheatley trying to chase him down, and it seems Sampa's trying to do exactly the same between these guys. Daniel's still trying to push on in 8th place. Scott currently 9th, with Nick in like 36 seconds behind at the moment, it seems. But you know, the Jaguars seem to be a bit of a pace setting moment or two, but it seems from what I'm seeing, Craig Thomas is still leading this race. Gareth Morris and of course Casper 2nd and 3rd. Lee Fitzy still 4th. Rasmus now has Chris Wheatley for company, trying to chase him down with 44 minutes to go in this race. It seems the halfway mark is coming up very shortly. I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close between these guys to see exactly what's going to happen, because the racing has been very close, and obviously, you know, it is a very close championship at the moment. It seems Lee Fitzy and of course Rasmus, they have a bit of a touch, and that's gonna allow Chris Wheatley to try and push on a bit. It seems Gareth Morris is the road in third then, but Craig's gone into pit lane, which seems that that'll allow Casper and of course Gareth Morris, Chris Wheatley on the attack of the BMW. Rasmus is there. You know, Chris Wheatley did an absolute fantastic move into that hairpin, into the chicanes then for the 28th time. It seems there's a lot of paint swapping, and it seems that, you know, there's going to be quite a few drivers trying to push on Chris Wheatley, trying to push away from the likes of Rasmus. Craig gets back out into third then. An absolute stellar job from his pit crew yet again. They seem to get the pit stops very nailed, because in the British Touring Cars on Wednesday it seemed they got that sorted as well. So obviously Chris Wheatley trying to defend from Rasmus. At the moment is Rasmus playing another strategy with 42.5 minutes to go in this race of round number 1 of the GR3 Endurance Championship, brought to you by Eldar Racing in association with Go Fudge Yourself. And it seems to be very close for the tier 1 guys at the moment. Then it can be a bit daunting into a race, but at the moment it seems that Chris Wheatley trying to push away from Rasmus at the moment. Samper, and you can just see Daniel's got that Ford GT now. You can just see he's about 2.0 of a second from Samper's Audi R8 at the moment. Scott Dalby also same amount of gap to Daniel at the moment in 9th place. Nick's about 37.5 seconds behind Scott Dalby at the moment. Whether the Jaguar is trying to push on, and it seems like, you know, one Jaguar seems to be performing, the other one seems to be struggling. But it'd be interesting to find out exactly how well these guys go. It seems Samper trying to push on. Let's try and catch up to Rasmus. He's 0.2 at the moment. Rasmus currently there, excuse me, with Chris Wheatley 1.6 of a second, it's now 1.7 going into the hairpin for the 29th time. Is this going to allow Rasmus to close up? But it seems at the moment the gap's come down between Samper and of course Daniel at the moment. The other GT40, you can just see the German driver trying to push on to the Finnish driver, it seems, and it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen between these guys. It seems at the moment Samper trying to push away from Daniel at the moment with Rasmus and trying to catch up to Chris Wheatley. That gap has come down 1.5 now. It's considerably growing. It seems to be either growing or it's either shrinking. It all depends on certain things though. But obviously, you know, certain racers know how to race. It looks like Lee Fitzy's going to push that Corvette to the absolute limit. Craig Thomas still in third place then. Gareth Morris pitting this time round, I believe, in the 101 numbered BMW. It seems Casper still leads the race then. That will allow Craig Thomas to try and jump into second. Lee Fitzy 4th at the moment. Chris Wheatley 5th, Rasmus 6th. Samper's under a lot of pressure now from Daniel coming towards the chicanes for the 30th time then. It seems with 39.5 coming up to 39.5 minutes to go. This is going to be very close. We'll see exactly how well this battle changes. Samper and of course Daniel, they're almost side by side. Daniel tries to get that line and Samper tries to think about closing the door. You can just see the rebellion. It's going to be very close. It seems Rasmus jumps into pit lane, Samper jumps into pit lane as well. So that's allowed Damien up into 6th with Scott Dalby 7th. That may put Nick into 8th place, depending on how excuse me, depending on how things go. But you know, Nick's just coming through the latter half of the lap now. He's going into the chicanes. Whether that Jaguar was trying to push on too much, you know, it's a bit of a handful. Well, it's not a handful for certain people, but you know, the Jaguar seems to be pushing and hopefully, you know, he gets into where he wants to be, pushing on into the hairpin for the 30th time. Casper still there leading the race. Craig Thomas still in second. Gareth Morris actually came out in third, so that's another stellar job from the Welsh crew. Lee Fitzey fourth, Chris Wheatley fifth, Daniel in sixth with Scott Dalby seventh, Samper in eighth, then Rasmus ninth. Has he had a bit of an issue? Is it just one of, or is he just had a bit of a ghost and Nick jumps into pit lane then? So it looks like Nick's trying to push on to try and see exactly what's going to happen with that Jaguar. It seems to be a lot of things to be battles galore this evening, with around 38 minutes to go on the clock. Craig still in second, Gareth Morris in third, then Lee Fitzey fourth with Chris Wheatley fifth, Daniel sixth with Scott Dalby seventh, Samper in eighth, Rasmus ninth, and Nick in 10th. Oh, Nick spun out of the corner there. He's obviously trying to push on, but obviously the Jaguar seems to be a car that's proven to be a bit of a power horse at the moment, it seems. But, you know, he will still push on, obviously. You know, it seems to be still a long way to go. It's 37 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Rasmus still in 9th then. Whether he's going to push on quite a bit to see exactly what's going to happen. Samper's still in 8th, Scott Dalby 7th. Seems to be pushing that Jaguar through its paces, you know. And Daniel in 6th then, Chris Wheatley 5th rather, with Lee Fitzey in 4th, Gareth Morris still 3rd, and of course Craig Thomas getting a bit loose out of them chicanes in the Aston Martin in 2nd place at the moment, with Casper currently on lap 33 then, trying to push his way and trying to see what he can do with 36.5 minutes to go. So, you know, we've still got a bit of time to go in this race. It seems like there's a lot of battles galore, and it's going to be very close to see exactly what is going to happen for this evening. And it is going to be a very top-notch and probably classic end to this race. So it seems at the moment Samper's trying to eke out, so there's not really much difference between obviously the Audi versus the BMW. It's only 5.2 of a second, and obviously Nick's trying to push on in that Jaguar. It seems the Jaguars are having a bit of a pushing to the limit at the moment. Casper with up to 35, coming up to 35.5 minutes to go in the opening race. Craig Thomas still pushing on. He's 8.5 of a second from Gareth Morris at the moment. So, you know, it seems to be a lot of contention for either a Welsh win or a Danish win for this evening. It looks like Lee Fitzey will be pitting this time round, with Chris Wheatley trying to be hot on his heels. It seems the two American cars, the two American tanks as we're going to call them, trying to push on for 4th and 5th at the moment respectively, with 35 minutes to go in this race, it seems. So obviously, you know, Daniel's still in 6th then, Scott Dalby 7th, Samper 8th. Whether the Audi's going to try and push on, you can just see Rasmus, the gap's considerably come down a bit. Rasmus in the BMW, near enough 3.9 of a second, maybe 3.9. The gap grows and it shrinks considerably, but the BMW driver needs to push on to get his rhythm back into his race winning performance. Obviously Nick's trying to push that Jaguar. You know, maybe he's getting a bit tired, you know, because it is a long way. These hour and a half races probably will be pushing the drivers to the limit. Lee Fitzey into pit lane then, so that will probably allow certain people such as Scott Dalby up into 6th then, and it will allow Samper maybe into 7th. It all depends if Samper jumps into pit lane, stays out there at the moment currently pushing on, whether he's going to try and emulate quite a few things. Looks like Lee Fitzey though in that Corvette just rejoined in 7th place. He's got the Audi R8 gaining on him though, 1.4 of a second. It seems like there's going to be a very close contest between the Corvette and the Audi. The Audi seems to be pushing quite a bit. Whether you see what's going to happen, Rasmus in 9th with Nick still in 10th, then pushing that Jaguar to its absolute limit, with Casper still in 1st place, 25.9 seconds ahead of Craig Thomas at the moment. Craig's drifting that Aston Martin out of the final turn, about to take another lap and about to start lap 35 with 33 minutes to go in this race. This is where the racing has provided some fantastic battles. Gareth Morris seems to be pushing for 3rd place at the moment. The BMW driver seems to be pushing on. Chris Wheatley 4th, Daniel currently in 5th, then with Scott Dalby in 6th. Lee Fitzy and Samper, they're almost battling tooth and nail through the chicanes. It seems like Samper's got the Audi R8 dialed up to that Corvette with 32 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in this race. So, you know, it's going to be very close between the pair as we're about to start another lap. It seems like the Audi seems to want to push on. It's going to be very close. But looking at what is happening, you know, Rasmus still in 9th. At the moment he's going to be pushing, he's going to be pushing that BMW all the way. You know, he knows how it works, he knows how it races. And it seems with 32 minutes to go in this race, so, you know, we've still got half an hour, maybe a bit more, to see exactly what's going to happen for the racing. And it seems to be quite a bit within the lap times, you know. Looks like, you know, Daniel's pushing up, trying to push up to where he wants to be, pushing that Ford GT where he wants it as well, with Chris Wheatley in 4th, then Gareth Morris 3rd, Craig Thomas. The gap between them two, 4.5 of a second, with near enough 31 minutes remaining. But it seems to be very close. You got the likes of Samper trying to catch up to Chris Wheatley. Lee Fitzy, or is yet to concede to Lee Fitzy, it seems. But it's yet to find out the Finnish driver trying to push that Audi all the way. You know for a fact it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. So it's going to be very close to push on quite a bit for some time. It seems like Lee Fitzy has that Corvette almost where he wants to be. But you know, it's like 30.5 minutes to go. Rasmus is almost gaining onto that Audi as well. You can just see him, he's 2.5 from Samper at the moment. And Nick's trying to push that Jaguar all the way, maybe, you know, maybe being, as Casper goes into pit lane. But maybe Nick's trying to push on, you know, he's probably feeling a bit tired because it is still a long way to go, still half an hour to go though. So, you know, 30 minutes to go in this race. It's going to be very close. Craig Thomas then, however, you know this guy, he knows how to win races. You know, he seems to, he actually had a very close battle in season 1 of GR3. A very close battle with his cousin. I believe it was his cousin. And they both were tied on points. That's how insane GR3 racing is. Because the racing is very close and it can be very close to be part of as Chris Wheatley jumps in pit lane. That's allowed Casper's up into 3rd then. That's allowed Daniel to take 4th place at the moment. Scott Dalby 5th. Lee Fitzy still trying to push away from the likes of Samper. It seems excuse me, it seems to be that Corvette trying to push on from the Audi at the moment, and Rasmus still there at the moment trying to push on. You can just about see the Audi lurking ahead. Chris Wheatley still in pit lane then. And I think, you know, Nick's just trying to push on and just trying to finish the race. It is still a very strenuous race, even if it's for an hour and a half. But you know, fair play, he never gives up. So the Jaguar there trying to push on for 10th place at the moment. Craig Thomas then through the chicanes. Is he going to pit this lap? Is that going to allow his best mate Gareth Morris to take the race lead with around 28 minutes to go? Well, 28 minutes remaining. It looks like Craig's got the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin may be pitting. Yes, it is. It seems the medium tyres and the fuel tank is going to be pushing on, so that's allowed Casper to take 2nd place at the moment, and that's going to allow the likes of probably Daniel to try and take 3rd place, depending on how quick Craig's team get the pit stop done, because the pit stops have been fantastic from Craig over the last couple of races, it seems. But at the moment he's conceded Scott Dalby into pit lane as well, so that probably will allow Lee Fitzy, Samper trying to push on. He's got Rasmus trying to push on, and Chris Wheatley in 9th at the moment on cold tyres in that Ford GT40. So it seems there's quite a few cars still trying to push on and trying to get a decent result from tonight, it seems. You know, so it's going to be very close between these guys at the moment then. So Craig out into 4th place then at the moment. This is where it's going to be very close. 27 minutes remain in this race. Lee Fitzy currently in 5th and currently trying to push away. You know, he's like 3.4 of a second from Samper. Rasmus is currently 1.4 from Samper at the moment. It seems Chris Wheatley also there. And then obviously Scott Dalby 6.3 of a second. Unfortunately Nick's trying to push on, you know. He's a couple of laps down at the moment, but you know, who knows what's going to happen. Well, he's about a lap down because Gareth Morris is about to go on to lap 39 with 26.5 minutes to go. It seems Casper's trying to push that BMW exactly the same, with Daniel currently in 3rd in the Ford GT. Ford GT could be another car that seems to drink and maybe suck up all that fuel, it seems. But we'll see exactly what's going to go on with 26 minutes to go. Craig currently still pushing on in 4th place. Lee Fitzy getting a bit loose out of that chicane. Samper still trying to push on for 6th place at the moment. Rasmus still there with almost just left half a tank in that BMW. The BMW seems to be pushing quite a bit, it seems. You know, he's trying to catch up to Samper. He's trying to probably push up to the Audi and trying to take 6th place back. You could just see he's actually speaking of exactly what we're thinking he was going to do. You can see he's like 1.3 of a second now from Samper at the moment. Samper seems to, whether the Audi seems to be having a bit less fuel in the tank, it seems, but he's pushing it, trying to push away from that BMW M6 at the moment, the VLN spec, it seems. But you know, Rasmus is catching Samper at some great speed at the moment, it seems, and it's going to be a fantastic tooth and nail battle with 25 minutes remaining, and it's going to be very close to see exactly how quick these guys are going to go for this evening. It seems to be a lot of issues ongoing with the fuel at the moment. The fuel seems to be being a bit more drunk in that Audi at the moment. It gets a bit loose, but he puts the power on. He tries to get away from Rasmus at the moment. Lee Fitzy still in 5th place then, with Craig Thomas 4th. Daniel still in 3rd at the moment then. Casper 2nd. Gareth Morris still in 1st place, leading the race. You know, he wants to try and emulate a lot of things from last season, obviously being in GR2, but now he's in GR3, so it's a bit of a downhill spiral. But you know, it's kind of interesting to see how well they adapt to these cars. With 24 minutes to go then in the first race of the championship, you can just see Lee Fitzy in 5th place, but Samper is getting caught by Rasmus. You can just see, look at the left hand side, it's 0.5 of a second, now 0.4. It seems to be tooth and nail between these two. It seems the Audi versus the BMW, it seems to be a bit close. 23.5 minutes to go in this race. It seems that Samper has been caught by Rasmus. Excuse me. You can just see the Finnish driver trying to push on, trying to emulate a lot of stuff from Rasmus at the moment. Rasmus seems to be, you know, every time he puts that BMW where the Audi wants to go, the Audi decides, well, you know, I'm going to block that line and see exactly what's going to happen. But Rasmus gets the BMW almost alongside the Audi into the hairpin for the 40th time. He almost is there. They're almost side by side, bit of contact between the pair of them going towards the chicane. Daniel jumps into pit lane. Excuse me. Daniel jumps into pit lane. Excuse me. With Rasmus 6th, and that's allowed Craig back up into 3rd then, because Daniel's in pit lane with, you know, Samper trying to push on. We'll see exactly what's happening to the Audi R8. Is the Audi drinking fuel, or is it just these two are going to be battling all the way through? It looks like Samper is trying to push on. He wants to get past that BMW as quick as he can, because if he does that, meanwhile Daniel comes out into 7th. That's allowed Chris Wheatley in the other Ford GT to close up, soon to take 7th then. What absolute nice move that, with 22 minutes to go. But you can just see Samper pushing on, trying to get past that BMW. Whether it's getting past that BMW for the last stint, it's yet to be seen, but there is a lot of things ongoing, and it seems Samper's going to be pushing that Audi, trying to get away, or trying to get up to Rasmus. Leave Fitzy up into 4th then. You can just see that Corvette trying to push on. And then there is a battle between, obviously, Chris and Daniel at the moment. The two Ford GTs fighting it out for 7th and 8th at the moment. Scott Dalby in 9th and trying to push that Jaguar. Nick trying to push the other Jaguar in 10th place at the moment. But it seems there is a lot of battles galore going to be happening. Rasmus and Samper, just look at the pace of the both BMW and Audi driver. It seems Rasmus gets a bit crossed up going out them chicane. Is that going to be what he wants, or is it a tactic to try and throw Samper off his tail? It seems at the moment though Samper's going to have to pit this time round though. Is that going to be a pit stop for both of them, or are they going to just stay out? They're both actually going to stay out with roughly near enough 20.5 minutes to go. Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel, they're still battling for 7th and 8th. The Ford GTs seem to be having a nice battle themselves as well. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen with their battle, as well as the battle that's currently up the road between Samper and Rasmus. It seems Daniel's going to try and get past Chris Wheatley. Chris Wheatley in 7th place with Daniel currently still in 8th place at the moment, it seems. But you can just about see the Ford GTs. These two are probably going to work together, because Samper and of course Rasmus, you know exactly how he likes to race. Bit of robust style sometimes, but you know, he's there and thereabouts. And it seems to be that Samper in that Audi trying to push Rasmus. Gareth Morris goes into pit lane then with 19 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the first round of the championship. Samper gets a bit crossed up. Is that allowed Rasmus to try and escape? Looks like Chris Wheatley's had that bit of a gap now from Daniel at the moment, it seems. But is that going to be another battle that's going to happen between them? But Samper needs to pit this time round, because he is almost out of fuel. And this is where it's going to be very close between the pair. Is that going to have Rasmus into pit lane, or is it just going to be a bit of a battle? No, because Samper jumps into pit lane, so that allows Rasmus to break free and he's going to be pushing on. Chris Wheatley's still there in 6th, Daniel 7th with Scott in 8th, Sampa in 9th, and Nick in 10th place at the moment, yet to do another stint. It's going to be very close. You know, he's obviously trying to get that Jaguar into a nice comfortable place. Whether it's just, you know, it's starting to feel tired now because it is still a strenuous race, an hour and a half. It seems to be pushing on, it seems to be a lot of interest. Casper takes the lead from Gareth Morris, so Gareth Morris may have to settle for second this time round, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. We've still got 18 minutes and 12 seconds to go. Craig Thomas still in 3rd place, Lee Fitzley 4th, then Rasmus 5th, Chris Wheatley and Daniel 6th and 7th. So it's going to be very close between the 4 GT40s, because I think Rasmus will be pitting this time round. Sampa in 9th then, Scott currently in 8th. So it seems to be a lot of battles as Nick goes into pit lane. So it's not really margin for errors around here. You can just see Rasmus 5th, just see the 4 GTs in the background. Chris Wheatley trying to push away from the red, white and black machine of Daniel. At the moment Daniel seems to push on, whether that's going to be another interest. So Rasmus jumps into pit lane then with 17 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock left. It seems Scott Dalby in 7th then, so that will allow him to push on quite a bit. You can just see the Fords ahead of him. Rasmus in pit lane, that probably will ignite his battle with Sampa, depending on how quickly Rasmus gets out of pit lane though, of course. So Sampa currently in 9th then, Rasmus 8th, but it's looking likely the fuel was getting topped up, but that still allowed Rasmus to get 8th place. You could just about see the BMW came out of pit lane, and you can just see Sampa still there in 9th with Nick trying to push on in 10th still. Casper still leading the race then, and Gareth Morris 2nd with 16 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock for the first round of the championship. Lee Fitzey still there into the chicanes then, into the second chicane, sparks it up into that wall. Got to be careful, you don't really want to do that, because that's exactly what happened to... That's what exactly happened on the first lap. But it is going to be very close between certain drivers, but you can just see Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel, 2 Ford GTs. They're going to be battling for 5th and 6th respectively, it seems. So at the moment then, Chris Wheatley in 5th place with Daniel currently trying to excuse me, with Daniel trying to chase him down. Just see Scott Dalby jump into pit lane with 15 minutes and 22 seconds remaining, and then obviously it's going to be very close because Chris Wheatley's got that 4 GT of Daniel right behind him. We'll go on board with the 4 GT of Daniel trying to chase down Chris Wheatley, getting a bit crossed up out of that hairpin down into the hill section towards the latter half of that lap, it seems. But this is where it's going to get very close into the Pirelli chicane. It's going to be very close, it's going to be very tooth and nail between these two. Chris Wheatley kicks up a bit of the sand. Whether that's just going to be a bit of a challenge, whether it's got a bit of dirt on his tyres now. Daniel's almost over the back, all over the back of him, it seems, with 14.5 minutes to go. Almost up into the chicanes then. The chicanes are going to be there. It's going to be 14.5 minutes to go. And it seems that Daniel has got Chris Wheatley in his sights, it seems. Both cars are equally matched, even though it's going to be very close. It seems Chris Wheatley's tyres seem to have a bit more wear on them at the moment, but Daniel's almost all over the back of that Welsh Ford GT40. Lee Fitzey goes into pit lane, so that will put Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel 4th and 5th respectively. So Lee Fitzy's Corvette drinking more fuel than we expected, but you know, it's going to be down to these two here for 4th and 5th at the moment into the chicane. Then seems to be pushing on quite a bit. Whether you get that easy way for quite some time, but it seems that, you know, Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel tried to push on. Daniel's got that Ford GT, you can just about see getting a bit of a wiggle, but it seems it's going to be very close between these guys. We'll see exactly what's happening further back. Lee Fitzy and of course Rasmus and of course Scott versus Samper. Samper's a bit far back now at the moment, but he's going to be catching as Casper goes into pit lane. And it looks like at the moment the closest battle then is between Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel. Daniel tries to get the move, better contact from the pair of them, which sends Daniel into a bit of a slide, but that's probably still going to get that momentum. Almost, you know, it's 1 second of a gap, but that is going to be very close. You've got Gareth Morris and Craig Thomas then still leading the race then. But no, it hasn't, because Casper's come out into second, but Craig's got that Aston Martin into second then, because Casper's on to cold tyres with 12.5 minutes. Excuse me. So yeah, Casper's trying to get past Craig Thomas, even though he's on cold tyres at the moment, and it seems Craig's trying to hold him off at the moment, it seems. But you can just see Craig's got that memento, but Casper's also there. You know, the BMWs are very quick. They can be very quick in a line, but obviously the Aston Martin is also there. But you got Chris Wheatley still 4th. Daniel still in 5th then. Seems they're going to try and push on Lee Fitzy and Rasmus, followed by Scott, followed by Samper, and of course Nick at the moment. But at the moment then, Casper's got past Craig again for that second place. It seems the Aston Martin may have to concede, but still a bit of a way to go. We've got 11.5 minutes to go in this race, so it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. Craig goes one way, Casper goes the other. It's going to be very close to see exactly what is going to happen. Casper seems to be pushing on. Whether it seems to be quite a bit of a battles galore between the pair of them, it seems, but you know, 11 minutes to go in this race. This is where it's going to be very personal between these guys. It seems that Craig's going to try and get that Aston Martin onto second place, but at the moment it seems Casper has that Danish BMW dialed up to perfection. Chris Wheatley and Daniel, they're still almost battling. He's still in 6th then. Rasmus 7th and Scott Dalby trying to chase him down. You can just see that Jaguar pushing Samper in 9th then. And poor old Nick, oh, he's lost a bit of control there. Whether he's feeling tired now, you know, it's still a long way. It must be very strenuous on the arms, on the wheel, because, you know, an hour and a half racing these, and especially trying to push on, it's going to be very difficult to try and see what's going to happen. I've never raced for an hour and a half in total, you know, it seems. But, you know, Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel trying to push on. We'll see exactly what's happening with their battle, but it looks like Craig's has almost lost a bit of gap now from Casper at the moment, it seems. With Gareth Morris still leading the race, then he seems to enjoy these sort of races with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go. It seems Craig's going to have to try and settle. But what is happening for the battle for 4th? It seems that Chris Wheatley and of course Daniel, they're going to try and push on. It seems Chris Wheatley, you know, he knows how to win races. He's actually won a title. He's actually tried to push on as well for some considerable amount of time. But Daniel's trying to get the attack on in the same car. Just about 0.3 of a second. Now it's 0.2 going into the latter half of the lap. About to cross the line then to go on to lap 49. And it seems with 9 minutes to go, we could be in for a fantastic finish for 5th and 4th. It seems Chris Wheatley and Daniel side by side almost. It looks like Daniel's got that 4th place dialed up. Chris Wheatley may have to settle for 5th. Lee Fitzie's still 6th with Rasmus chasing him down. Scott Dalby in the Jaguar also there. The 8th place Jaguar trying to push on. Sam for 9th. Nick in 10th at the moment. We'll give Nick a bit of an airtime because, you know, that's what I like to do in this commentary. Give people quite a bit of airtime because it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen for quite some time, with 8 minutes and 20 seconds in the first race. Then Casper still 2nd, Craig 3rd, but it looks like Daniel's got the legs of that Ford GT now to get past, to literally stay in 4th ahead of Chris Wheatley. Lee Fitzie's though, however, 6th place at the moment. You can just see Rasmus. It seems Rasmus is gaining. That BMW is 1.8 of a second from the Corvette at the moment. The Corvette seems to be pushing on. Scott Dalby also is like 1.9 of a second at the moment then from the BMW as well. So it seems there's a lot of perfection going on between these guys. 7.5 minutes to go in this race. This is where it's going to get very close, and I'll tell you what, it's been a fantastic race from start to now. It seems like we're going to be in for a close proximity battle. Casper runs a bit wide. He's like 8.0 of a second. He still has the fastest lap though at the moment with a 136.8, and it seems to be very going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. 7 minutes to go, and Gareth Morris is trying to push on. You know for a fact what is going to happen, because Lee Fitzie, I think Lee Fitzie's going to get caught by Rasmus if we're not careful. Scott Dalby's exactly going to try and catch Rasmus as well. You could just see that Jaguar trying to hunt down the BMW for that 7th place at the moment. 6.5 minutes. You know, this is going to be the longest 6.5 minutes of people's careers, probably. Thinking, you know, this has been fantastic. Samper still there, 10.6 of a second from Scott though, so he's not going to be able to catch unless something drastically happens to Scott within the 6 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. Craig goes into pit lane though, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. And Nick currently still in 10th though, pushing that Jaguar all the way with 6 minutes to go. So Gareth Morris still leading the race then. Casper in 2nd. Craig's coming out of pit lane, but is he leapfrog Daniel? Yes he has. He's leapfrog Daniel. You can just see the Aston Martin just jumping ahead of that Ford GT. He's 7.6 of a second from Chris Wheatley in 5th place at the moment. 5.5 minutes to go. This is going to be close. Lee Fitzie's 6th. You can just see Rasmus though. Fair play, Rasmus 1.6. I thought it was 1.5, but well, it's almost near enough there now, isn't it? You know, the BMW driver probably pushing on. It's going to be fantastic to see. It's probably going to be close. It's going to be, you know, Scott's about 3 seconds, 2.9 now. 2.9 seconds from Rasmus at the moment. Is Rasmus going to catch Lee Fitzie before the end? Still got like 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining though. But this is where it's going to be tooth and nail, because Lee Fitzie kicks up a bit of dirt. But is that going to challenge? Because it seems that Rasmus is going to catch him. You know, Craig's still in excuse me, Craig's still in 3rd then with 4.5 minutes to go. Casper's still there in 2nd. Gareth Morris though, this guy knows how to win races. He knows how to win. You know, he's probably going to be pushing on quite a bit. You can just see Daniel 3.1 of a second from Craig Thomas at the moment, it seems. You never know, Craig might have a bit of a memento, but at the moment what's happening with the battle for 6th,
1.2 of a second between Lee Fitzy and of course Rasmus, with just under 4 minutes to go in this race. This is what's going to be fantastic to see exactly what's going to be pushing on for some time though. However, Scott's like 3.6 of a second from Rasmus at the moment, so you know, 3.5 minutes almost to go. Rasmus is slowly, surely, but going to be catching up to Lee Fitzy. We know how well Rasmus raced last season in the BMW, especially at this half of the race. You know, the latter half of the race seems to be excuse me, where he wants to be. It almost seems, you know, Lee Fitzy currently in 6th, and with Chris Wheatley trying to push on. 3 minutes to go in this race. Is Rasmus going to catch him? It seems to be a bit of a battle. We'll see exactly what's happening. But you know, you've got Gareth Morris still leading the race, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. But this is where it's going to be very close. Casper 2nd, with Craig in 3rd, then Daniel 4th, Chris Wheatley 5th, Lee Fitzy slowly but surely now getting caught by Rasmus. 1.1 of a second. The time the gap grows and then shrinks. But this is where it's going to be very close between these guys. You know, we've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in this race. It looks like, you know, looking at the gap, it seems that Rasmus may have to settle for 7th this time round. But you know, it's going to be very close. The guys know how to race. There's some very quick guys in this division, and it seems to be, with 2 minutes to go, could be all or nothing. Sampa's still trying to push on in that Audi R8, with Nick still trying to push that Jaguar all the way. Fair play to him, you know, he's not giving up. Scott in 8th, he's about 3.1 of a second from Rasmus, 2.1 from Rasmus to Lee Fitzy. We know that's going to happen, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. You know, Gareth Morris will start the final lap then with 1.5 minutes to go. Excuse me. It's going to be fantastic. Unless he runs out of fuel, he's going to have to coast it. Casper 2nd then. Craig Thomas in 3rd, almost out of fuel. He's going to have to try and push that Aston Martin as quick as he can to see exactly what's going to happen. But, you know, he's got 1 minute and 3 seconds. So as soon as he crosses the line, he will be onto the final lap. So you've got Daniel in 4th then, Chris Wheatley in 5th, Lee Fitzy still in 6th, Rasmus 7th though. However, Chris Wheatley at Ford GT is almost out of fuel. He's going to have to coast it with 35 seconds remaining. This could be a nail biter, because if you look at what's happening, Chris Wheatley's probably going to have to concede 5th place. Yes, he's had to. He's on fumes. He's on fumes with 20 seconds to go. Rasmus could get another place here. He could get 6th place. But, you know, it's going to be fantastic to see. But Gareth Morris coming through the final turn then. Forgot about this guy. This guy has been absolutely fantastic from start to finish, and he's about to come and take round number 1 of the Go Fudge Yourself GR3 Endurance Championship with Eldar. Flashes the light, about to cross the line and takes a well-deserved victory. Casper in 2nd after a stellar drive with Craig Thomas in the Aston Martin. This guy will come home in 3rd. He is actually driven really well. The Aston Martin seems to be quite a car that maybe plans his pit stops to perfection. You know how well this guy does. It seems to be very close, and it's going to be very close going when we go to Le Mans. Daniel will take 4th, and I'll tell you what, he will be happy with that. You could just see how much it means to him, flashing the lights as he crosses the line. Lee Fitzy in 5th then, with that Corvette almost out of fuel. Rasmus in the BMW almost out of fuel, but Lee Fitzy, however, will take 5th place. What it would have been if it was a Welsh 1, 2, 3, 4. Rasmus 6th, Chris Wheatley unfortunately out of fuel on the last lap. Is he going to be caught by Scott Dalby? He could be, you know. Scott Dalby will take 7th because Chris Wheatley's out of fuel. Oh my days. And Sampa will take 9th and Nick will come home in 10th. And that was a class race, I'll tell you what. How insane. Was that? But it's going to be very close. So we'll get the race results and get the replay as well. And then we'll go through the race results very quickly indeed, because it was a fantastic race. And I tell you what, Gareth Morris takes a well-deserved victory from Casper, followed by Craig Thomas. Craig Thomas is probably thinking, what have I got to do for exactly getting 2nd place? Obviously it felt like, you know, eternity. An hour and a half racing is quite a long way to go. Daniel takes 4th then from Lee Fitzy. Rasmus 6th after a bit of a rocky start, and then obviously Scott Dalby 7th. Chris Wheatley ran out of fuel and finished 8th. Sampa 9th. Nick Sargent in 10th in the Jaguar. Seems the Jaguar needs to get that fuel tank a bit bigger, but you know, maybe it's just he's a bit tired, and you know, who can blame him? And obviously sadly we lost Miss Perfect on the opening. I think it was on kind of near enough the opening stages of the race. Hopefully she's back next week for a fantastic race at Le Mans. And it looks like Casper got the fastest lap on lap 50 with a 136.791. And it is going to be very close. I can't wait to see exactly what's going to happen at Le Mans next week, because it is going to be absolutely very close to see exactly how well things are going to go. And I'll tell you what, my voice seems to be going. But it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens at Le Mans. Obviously, join me for Wednesday's action of the British Touring Car Championship, the Shell Lorman Motorsport British Touring Cars, where we will be at Sardegna for the rounds 5 and 6 of the championship, I believe. And that is going to be a cracker, and I can't wait to see exactly how well that's going to go. And if it's anything like this racing, you don't want to miss that, because it is going to be absolutely epic. And I'll tell you what, it is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see what the championship is going to do at Le Mans for these guys. It is going to be fantastic. And I'll tell you what, thank you for tuning in, guys. And as I say, I do apologise for any issues that happened at the start of the stream. But until then, guys, I will see you Wednesday for the Shell Lorman Motorsport British Touring Course when we're outside Degner, and then obviously on Monday for round number 2 of the championship at Le Mans. Until then, guys, take care. Ta-ra.